Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Tuesday, May 27th. Sorry, it's actually, okay. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. New day, fresh start. Welcome to Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real-time technical analysis, and actionable setups, all with the focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: to build out the structure before the open so that we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces. Not guessing, not chasing. All right, team, let's get after it. Let's map it out. Let's get aligned with the market. We're going to start off as we do every morning. We're going to start off with our higher time frame analysis. We're going to build out an idea for what the higher time frame is doing. That's where we know the larger institutions and the larger players operate. So we want to make sure that we are in alignment with them, because essentially what we're trying to do as day traders is we're trying to ride their coattails. So to do that, we do every morning. We're going to start off with our 4-hour time frame, which is the chart on the left. All right, so here what we have here is we had the, really quick to recap, we had the Artemis move to the moon that started from the 63.53 low, and we had this impulsive move higher. And the big question coming into this last week was this going to see this consolidation? Was this a pullback, or were we going to do something like this? Obviously, we didn't. We held the bears couldn't even pull us down to the previous all-time high. Okay, so what did we do? We have to consider this as another sideways consolidation, right? So that has been the key defining feature on the higher time frames of this move that started on March 30th at the 63.53 low. It's been sideways consolidation, and then followed by what? By a breakout. So we got another sideways consolidation, and then a breakout. All right. So let's map out the higher time frame levels. We can see here that the bears are trying to hold this higher low. And really, when we analyze charts and as a technician, right, we're always looking at previous highs to see if that holds a support. That's like the first line of defense. And what we can discern from that is to gauge the strength of the market, right? And so far, we can see here, judging off the 4-hour time frame, that, yeah, you know what? Bulls are holding this area of the higher low, of the previous high. I'm sorry. So with that said, it just lends us the idea that, hey, all right, this is very bullish. The move from the 63.53 low is still underway. It's not complete. Is this going to end up being a look above, where we come up here, we breach the previous high, and then we get back below, we do something like this? We'll see. I think today's going to play a large role in that. Typically moves like this on a higher time frame, when the larger institutions begin their profit taking, right? You'll still see more higher highs. But what we start to see is the extension of those higher highs tends to peter out, and you do more sideways movements. All right, and that's why I say that today's going to be a big deal, because if bulls hold this pullback from the prior all-time 75.40 high, and we just start to extend higher, that's going to be a signal to us that, hey, the move is not over. However, if we breach and we start moving back into this structure here, so back into testing, say today we get down and we test yesterday's low, maybe even as low as 7,500, we're going to start to think, okay, we're not necessarily bearish. It's not time to short it yet. But what we're going to start thinking is, okay, we have to start preparing for sideways consolidation and understanding that the strength and the momentum of the move has ended. Again, another thing that's going to materialize there is we're going to start to see daily prints on our daily chart are going to stop being so long, and we'll start to get more compressed ranges. Typically, what we see in that type of market is larger overnight moves followed by thinner, smaller RTH session ranges. All right, so just keep that in mind. We're going to monitor these two levels here. on the higher time frame. I think bulls do not want to see price breach and get below 74.50. All right, that would signal a structural shift. That would also put all these buyers here on notice. 74.50 comes in here. It's the top of this structure. This should hold as support. If it does not, and we start to get work below that, we'll start to shift our focus down to the previous low. But what we're going to do is start looking for sideways consolidation, maybe something like this, but really a market that doesn't go anywhere. And then we'll assess if this is really profit taking, if we're seeing distribution from the larger institutions into these highs. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Let's drill down into our 15-minute time frame. That's really where the rubber meets the road for us. That's where we frame out our trades for the day. Good morning, Delphine. Good morning, Easy Money. How are y'all this morning? All right, team, let's get into it. We're going to do as we do every morning. We're going to map out the most bullish outcome. We're going to map out the most bearish outcome, and then we're going to map out a few trap trades. And guys, the trap trades are some of my favorite setups because it catches people's offsides. You typically get extension from your entry, and those tend to be the more frothy trades. We saw one materialize beautifully yesterday. We called it right here in the morning. I know a lot of you traded with it. I got a few DM messages from those of you who were able to participate in it. So good for you. I'm glad the stream is helping you. All right, let's make sure we have our numbers right here. The current Globex high is 75.70.75. All right, let's make sure we have that isolated. All right, we're going to start off with the most bullish argument. So to do that, we're going to look at where we're opening. We're going to assume that we're opening right here, 75.45, and we get the open drive higher. Immediately, what we're going to start focusing on is yesterday's high, right? So yesterday's high came in at 75.55. If we get price action above that and price shows acceptance above the 75.55 level and pullbacks are absorbed by sellers and by buyers, then we should see some extension higher to the overnight high. At that point, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking for higher lows. We're going to start framing out where our risk markers are to make sure we stay in alignment and make sure we pass those evaluations. Keep the risk low on your private accounts or on your funded accounts, whatever you're trading. Okay, so if we get a move over 75.55 on any pullback that holds that level, and we can give it a range, we might even see a dip. We all know how much the ES loves to trap traders, right? So say we get the pullback to 75, say we look above yesterday's high, and we get the pullback to this structural reference here, 75.48, we'll call it 75.50. That gives us a 5-point band in which to assess the risk. It also gives us a 5-point band in which to monitor for absorption. So if we get the pullback within this area, we still have to be thinking long. And we're entering our pullbacks, taking our scales along the way, depending on entry, take a fixed exit, ultimately targeting the overnight high at 75.70.75. There's a tongue twister for you. All right. And that's going to be satisfying the 96% stat. Okay. All right. So that frames out the most bullish argument. Let's get into the most bearish argument. All right, so we're opening at 75.45, 48. Now we're trading, and we get immediately when we open, we know that when the ES sells, it's a hot knife through butter, right? So we immediately get the liquidation break. And fortunately for us, we have excellent references coming into today's market because yesterday's value area high and the prior day's settlement come in alignment at 75.37. Okay, so both of them are aligned at 75.37. Okay, so keep that in mind coming into today. Value area high is 75.37. And the settlement is 75.37 as well. All right, so if we get the breakdown below, and we all know from our experience that price tends to bounce at the settlement, okay? That being value area high also gives us an excellent reference. And if we get a mediocre bounce, or say that price bounces to this structural reference here, 75.45, but it's unable to get above it, and we're immediately coming back down and testing the settlement again, all right, then we know, hey, this liquidation break is going to be a little bit more than what buyers anticipated. These buyers at the settlement and that value area high are wrong. And at that point, we're going to start looking for short scalps that get us back down below value area for a potential move down to the overnight low. Okay, overnight low is coming in at 75.29. And now what I like about this idea is that it also gives us an excellent trade potential, because being that the structural reference is at 75.45, and if we get a mediocre bounce at settlement, we know, okay, we'll use 75.45 as our risk marker. We'll enter our short trades, we'll put our risk markers right above there, and we have a potential 15 to 20 point move. So I really like that idea. I think it can materialize today. Again, we're going to stick to we're going to stick to the process and make sure that, hey, let price prove it. By that I mean we're going to judge and gauge the reaction at settlement and at value area high. Of course, we're going to apply the rule of thumb that we know about value areas, right? So the rule of thumb for value areas, for those of you who are just tuning in, is that if price tests out of the prior day's value area, now the value area is where 70% of the prior day's volume transacted, and that's typically a band. So for yesterday, value area high comes in at 75.37, value area low comes in at 75.18. If price gets below value area high and the settlement at 75.37, the rule of thumb is that price will traverse to the opposite end of the value area. And today that would be 75.18. Of course, we have overnight low at 75.29. We'll have to monitor for continuation. We'll have to monitor for a trap trade down there. But if it's really selling, if it's truly going to go lower, we know that it's going to move fast. We're going to have to be quick on the draw. We're going to have to take those scales quickly and then move those stops to break even, so that we protect those evaluations, we protect those funded accounts, and we protect our risk. All right, team. So that outlines the most bullish argument. It also outlines the most bearish argument. Let's get into our favorite. I hope you guys are starting to see the power behind these trap trades, because it seems like that's the setup that materializes most often. And if there's one thing I'd like to share with the community, it's those trades. Because even after all these years of trading, after 15 years of trading futures, I would have to say that if there's one setup that materializes most often, it's that one. It forces action, it catches traders off sides, and it allows us to participate with the larger institutions that love to trap traders. All right, so we're going to clear this out now. We're going to talk about the bullish trap trade, and we're also going to talk about the bearish trap trade. Let's get into it. All right, so for the bullish trap trade, we're opening 75.45, and we get a strong move higher. If we get that strong move higher and we look above yesterday's high, 75.55, and then instead of us holding that pullback to 75.55, we immediately put in a lower high, and we get back below 75.55 for a re-entry into yesterday's range. So at that point, what we're going to look for, right? We're going to be monitoring above yesterday's high. We're going to be looking for wicks. We're going to be looking for candles that print in a fashion that the body is maybe across or traversing yesterday's high, or it's weaving it. And we're going to look for tails, selling tails that materialize above. So that's going to signal that buyers are pressing up into those areas, and those sellers were absorbing those buyers and shifting them down. They could not get a close within those areas, and that would signal to us a potential shift in direction. All right, so at that point, if we get back below yesterday's high, and we see acceptance below yesterday's high, we're going to start looking for short entries, right, that get us back down to the settlement. Okay, so we're going to look for a move above yesterday's high, 75.55, and that for that move to stall out. Typically what you see is maybe the first time you get up into that area, that tends to be the high, and then from there you put in a lower high, or if you go over it, you put in a marginal high, marginally higher high. But ultimately we start taking out that pullback low that would align here. Okay, so that's going to be the good. That's going to be probably the most important reference, right? Because that would be all those buyers that participated in that pullback are now being liquidated. We're getting short. We're using our risk marker with the lower high and yesterday's high, and then we're looking for a move right back down to the settlement. And value area high being at 75.37. All right, so that covers the bullish trap trade. Let's talk about the bearish trap trade, which tends to be my favorite. All right, so we're opening 75.45, and we get that liquidation break. And this can manifest because our areas are stacked today. You know, we're day time frame traders, right? So we trade in the day time frame. We use our day time frame structural references to outline our ideas for the day. If we do, so there's a couple of different ways that this can materialize. All right, so we could get a move down to settlement or value area high, and we look below it, and then all of a sudden price comes back up, reclaims it like it did yesterday. Maybe we chop around a little bit, but ultimately we get to move higher. We start forming higher lows. At that point, we're going to start thinking, okay, we remember what Manny said in the morning. We're going to shift our thinking. We're going to start thinking, okay, this is a trap. We're not going to be thinking short any longer, because we also know that when the ES is selling, it tends to move quickly. So when price is moving down and it stalls out, our antennas go up. We're like, all right, we're not going to be the first one in. So we don't have to. What we're going to do is we're going to let a balance area form. We're going to get in later in that balance area and participate in that short squeeze with all those sellers that were selling into that level that aren't getting anything for their position. All right. So again, a few different ways it could materialize. We're going to have to monitor for a look into prior day's value. So that's 75.37. And we're going to look for that move to stall. If it's selling hard, right? If that doesn't materialize and it's a hot knife through butter and we're moving down very quickly, well, then we're going to have an idea also, because we have lower references, right? So if we get that move lower and say we get down below the overnight low, well, then the same thing applies. Okay, we're going to look for balance. We're going to look for those sellers to start being absorbed on any test lower. And there's a few different ways, obviously, that this can materialize. But say that we come down, let me just back this out. We get the move down lower. We get down below overnight high. It retests. It pushes a little bit lower. But ultimately, that push lower fails. Okay, if that push fails and we start coming back up, maybe we do a kind of an inverted head and shoulders, and we start to reclaim the overnight high at 75.29. At that point, okay, we're trading later in the balance. We're looking for long entries. We're looking for a return to value area high and a retest of the settlement. All right. That has a strong possibility today, just like the bullish trap trade. Again, there's another way that can materialize. Same setup, same kind of thinking, same framing, whereas we get below yesterday's low and then we reclaim it for the higher low and we push higher. A few different ways it can materialize. We're going to stay on alert. We're going to be calling it out as we see it. Keep everybody on the right side of things. Now, the other thing I want to cover is the condition of the overnight inventory. It's really important because we know that the condition of the overnight inventory often frames the first move of the day. Okay, so if we get if just by looking at the chart, we can see here that the overnight inventory is the way we discern what the overnight inventory is we extrapolate that by looking at the settlement. So yesterday's settlement was at 75.37, and we can quickly eye up how much of price action took place above the prior day settlement. Here, it's pretty easy to see that just about all of last night's trade was above the settlement. However, a lot of that has been paired off because we can see here that there have been two liquidation breaks. there's obviously a resistance point here, 75.65, 75.70, right? Where buyers fail to extend it higher. And so thus all of this inventory that was long, all of these buyers from these pullbacks that pushed price higher, okay, all of those longs are now being liquidated. So coming into today, I would put the overnight inventory edge at a mid-level. I don't think that because of this big sell, I think a lot of those sellers now we're below this 75.48 reference. Okay, we're breaking down below it. I'm sure a lot of people have getting stopped out under here. And then the next reference would be below the settlement. All right. So not that much of an edge today with the overnight inventory. However, I would have to say that it's more that the overnight inventory is still net positive, just slightly so. All right. So I see I'm being joined by David. That's going to cover it for me this morning. I got everything in before the open, so I'm feeling great about that. Also had a really good trade in the pre-market I shared with our private community, so also feeling good about that. And now we'll turn the mic over to David and see what he has for us. Hey, David.
Hey, good morning, Manster.
David?
Everybody hear me okay? You hear me okay? Audio all good? Audio good? All right, Stuart has audio. Delphine has audio. Okay, thank you. Good morning. All right, great. Manny doesn't have audio. All right. All right, good morning, everyone.
David, are you there?
Yes. Seems as though everybody hears me but Manny.
Yeah, no, I had you on green. I couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, great. No, Manny took you through the opening there, or his plan. All right, coming off those highs. I had spoken something similarly on our side here, so I'm not going to repeat too much. But we are on a cycle day 3, which is our final day of the cycle. We do have a positive 3-day cycle, and I think Manny spoke about that look above and fail play that he outlined and had to trade in. We were talking similar to that as well. So today we're kind of looking for probably a little bit more of a sell side kind of lean. Market really didn't take out prior highs with any vigor. So that kind of, when I look at this kind of structure, that I look at this as somewhat as of a failure, right? And then we may get a deeper, pullback, which obviously could bring us all the way down to the low end of yesterday's range. So right now, our early morning begin on our side is going to be looking for just a early sell lean until something changes. So that's pretty much it for us as we begin. And there's the bell.
All right, team, make sure you write down that opening print. Pretty important to what we do here. So let's make sure, because that's going to give us our idea for just in early on, we want to know where we opened up. What was the first price traded just at the opening bell? And for today, that price is coming in at 75.42. Let's write that down. So remember, the way we use that is, let's get an idea for how many times we trade above it and below it, above it and below it during the initial session, right? So what we're going to look for there is, if we're going, 5 or 10, 15 points above it, 5 or 10, 15 points below it in the first 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, even a half hour, hey, we need to be on alert for that, because that's a day trader's worst nightmare. That signals choppy trade. All right. So we don't want to fall into a chopped soup mess. All right. So just stay on alert for that. Going to flip it out here and get back to the other chart. And yeah, I have a feeling today's going to be a great day. But you know what? I've never had a bad day that started out with me thinking it was going to be a bad day. Pretty. All right, that doesn't make any sense. Let me just leave that alone. Yeah, well, yeah, I tend to be overly optimistic, but what? Yeah, 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 CB, you get it. Just gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. We, as much as we tend to want to avoid politics and religion, you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. All right, let's get a good. All right, so look, 75.42 are open. We've already traded a few times through it. Okay, so we have 75.46. Being that we spoke yesterday a lot about tape reading and everybody felt kind of comfortable or just at least understood the concept, I feel a little bit better about being able to introduce a little more on those topics. So I'll be using that a little bit a lot more as we continue to develop uh, the narrative. All right, so we're through the open there. We got, and what I noticed immediately was that the 75.46 quarter high was it was a divergence. Only 6 contracts came off there. When they came up into 75.46 quarter, 75.46, they hit them, and there was 77. There were 67 contracts traded there on the offer, and then right after that, only 13 came off. Okay, so that tells me, hey, not a one tick below the high, they were already running out of gas. Now we're back through the open. All right, so stay alert here. You gotta have faith. Yep, yep, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. All right. Hope everyone had a nice, relaxing evening last night. I'm going to shift the profile chart on over to a regular trading hours look. Okay, got that there. All right, nothing going on here, but we'll just leave that on. We're gonna go first, ATR, boom, boom, boom. Okay, okay. This is gonna get enabled. We're a go. We are a go. All right, let's see what happens here. We have hey, this is a just on a just heads up though, right? We're I mean, okay, granted, it's very early. It's extremely early. Maybe I shouldn't even go there, but we only have an 8 point range thus far. Okay, that's a seven, to be exact, a 7.25 point range. All right, so not exactly a barn burner of an open here. We're not seeing neither a liquidation break or a strong bullish rally. All right, we've already weaved the open. This is going to be the third time through it, so let's just stay alert. Chop is, choppy, indecisive market is a day trader's worst dream, worst nightmare. I'm going to make sure I get the SPYGATE cranking here. I want to be aware of what is going on with the institutional activity. Again, if you are looking for funding, if you're looking for funding, you can go visit us at pitbulltraders.com. Big website overhaul coming through any day now. Stay on alert for that. We've been working our butts off to try to get that up for everyone. A lot much improved features, a lot better description of some of the tools we use. So look out for that. All right, looks like we're in a Crowders. All right, team. I'm going to hey David, what are you guys looking at there? You said you're looking to shift, you're looking to sell rips. What does that mean?
Yeah, yeah, Manny. Right now, we're staying in alignment on the short side, sell side. So, we're looking for bounces to sell, get opportunities to sell. I think a break below 35s, 40s area. Um, there's not a whole lot until the overnight low. So, staying on the short side lean for now.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a continuation of that liquidation of that failure to extend over the highs. Remember, keep an eye on that higher time frame analysis that we mapped out earlier. I think that it's always good to have one eye on that. I'm going to pull up, make sure that that chart's up while I get Ninja Trader back up again. Okay. I know that
All right.
right just before. I'm pretty sure that just before it fell down on me, it was triggered a short, I think. But let's see when it comes up here.
All right. We're currently short the A4 and a premium.
Yep,
And we've scaled out already on the A4, so we're risk free on that currently. Any key downside support, Danny asks. I'm looking for a test of the 20s and prior low down to the 17s at some point today. But we'll just stay in alignment. Mr. Market has the final say.
yep, I knew it. All right, team. Yep. So I'm in that same. I'm in that short from the 75.44, and I'm a little bit of an algo mess. We'll just take a quick shave off there on so for 5 points. Just before it ran into some trouble, I noticed that it was putting me short there. So we'll just keep that updated. And then the CCI also has me short 75.41. And that is looking for 75.31. Okay. 75.44. I'm short 75.44. I'm short 75.41. I'm looking for 75.31. Just going to get the orders in here manually. Let me just zoom out to my other chart. So what happened here was these trades triggered for me automatically, but then ran into a little bit of a problem. So we're back in. We're no worries, no panic. We're gonna get our stops in. We're gonna make sure we're protected on that. All right. Tighten up the risk. 75.35. And then what like I always do when I get to these points, guys, is like I like to go about, look at my trade plan, right? And see what I'm working with for the day. I want to make sure that that if I mapped out a level that I'd like to trade, and I have an automatic an algo executed trade, I want to make sure that that I'm not running into a support that goes against one of my point and click trades. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. So on the market blueprint today, our first support 75.33. All right. So there you go. Right. So we have a support band. Support setup number one is 75.33 to 75.37. All right. So that immediately makes me on alert down here. I want to make sure that, hey, I get this trade off. I'm going to let it cover because I only have one left. All right. So I'm short three total, one on the left, two on the right. And I'm going to be watching the order flow here like a hawk. And the order flow is telling me, you see a bright red on the left? See, we're seeing more red than not. This is yesterday's close right here. Let's see. Let's see what we get. We know we're going to get a somewhat of a bounce here. Somewhat of a bounce. Let's see. Let's gauge it. Let's gauge the strength and momentum of this bounce. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take another one off for whatever. I think it's 8.25 here, 9. And I'm going to slide this one to break even. Just a manual adjustment. It looks like we're coming back in to test those. I'm going to leave those covers in. I'll allow the market to take me out. I don't like to fiddle with my orders very much. All right, looks like we're getting that move lower, that push lower. We've retested that close, and look. So, guys, this is a great order flow. Okay, got the target plus 11 on that, plus 11 on the right. Let's see if I got the 10 points on the left. So good. I'm out of those. I got plus 5 on the CCI. I'll go ATA short, and then I got plus 10 on the second one. So plus 15 total. On the middle, on the right-hand chart, I got 2 scales out, one for 12, one for 6. And I'm still short one. It's got about 14 points profit in it right now. So feeling good about that. All right. So heads up. So guys, look, this is what I talk about right early on about order flow reads. We saw the bounce at the settlement, right? What was the gate? What was the strength and the momentum of the bounce? It was nothing. Like look at where we are. We're just blazing right through it. So that's why I didn't cover, right? Order flow reads. You guys are all going to be good order flow, good tape readers. The more you continue to watch, the more you continue to follow and learn. We're out here to teach. I hope you guys are picking up on it. All right, coming down into, we got the 75.44 short. Nice liquidation break here. Nice liquidation break. We're going to start looking at targets on this last one. Right? Looking for an ultimate target of 75.17. If we can print 75.17, that's going to satisfy the 96% statistic. So given that where we are on the chart, guys, I think that's more likely. I think it's more likely that we print 75.17. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to go print 75.17 at least before we go print 75.70. Pretty safe to say. We'd have to go 60 up versus 10 down. Seeing 75.25.50 is currently the RTH low. 17 contracts came off at the low there, and then they flipped them at 75.27. They really started buying them back up. Be careful here. Be careful of the trap trade. Yeah, I think that goes. This is the area where we outline where we could run into some problems. Okay, yeah. So we're back above now the overnight low. We're back above the overnight low. Let's gauge the strength and the momentum of this bounce. I don't want to see these get above 75.37, back above the settlement. I'm going ahead and locking some in, locking some more in, waiting for extension lower, see if we get it. But it looks like this is just looks like the bulls are picking up some steam here. Let's let this candle print. Let's let this candle form on the 5-minute. before I start making any type of decision. I'd rather let that I'd rather let that form out, and so that I can make a more informed decision, right? Don't want to panic out. I hate, and one of the things that's hurt me most over the years was exiting mid candle, right? And then figuring out later on that you just exited too early. Should have let that candle print close. That's probably one of those things that's really ingrained in my head. I don't know about you, David, but for me, waiting for the candles to close, that was a big one for me. All right, team. Looks like we treaded back down lower, and now we're just bouncing. So heads up. I think David tuned out. So we're just going to keep monitoring the tape here. So so here's the thing. Heads up, right? We have some divergence down here, but from gauging from the order flow read, it's pretty strong. So I want to. Can't get rid of me. Not gonna get rid of me. Let's. Also, I have one ear on that SPYGATE. Let me just get the order up. I think that David's having some issues. Also, he just pinged me. So looking for that 75-17 touch of that of let's see. Let me make sure I have these areas right. 75-17 is yesterday's low. Yep. So I had that wrong earlier. I'm gonna have to. What was the 75.29 was the overnight low, right? And that's what they're trying to reclaim right now. That's what they're trying to reclaim. All right, so I'm monitoring it there. I'm monitoring the 75.18. I'm willing to take a quick dynamic exit on this just because we're trying to reclaim here. Woo! That's Excel program. Let's see how they absorb it. Hey, look, did you guys see that quick blip down? All right, so look, here's how I use that. We just got that quick blip down, right? They rallied them up. Just now, it just dropped like 1.5 points, right? Was that absorbed? It was. Look, so they dropped on I'm out. I'm done. So I'm flat, guys. I'm flat. So here's the read on that, right? Real time. Sorry, it's moving fast, but I want to make sure I give everybody a good read. So, and how I use order flow and tape reading to kind of frame my exits. All right. So look, we initially saw the strong move down. All right. We knew that we had an area here, and that we could see buyers show up at the overnight low. Right. So now we're reclaiming the overnight low, and right here, like, okay, so I have to show you focus on this right-hand chart here. All right. If you're in a trade, manage a trade. Okay, so if we're focusing here on the right-hand chart, right? So look, right here, we had the strong move down. Then this was the reclaim, another push down on this bar right here, right? We popped up, and then we sold off really quickly on a volume spike And I was like, all right, well, if they're going to go lower, they're going to extend from here. They didn't. It was absorbed. It was completely absorbed. Like, so all that selling, think about this. How much notional value does it take to push the ES from, what was this price? Hang tight. It pushed the ES down from 32 to 28. That's 4 points. And what happened yesterday? It just went right back up. So all of that selling, that sell program, pushed it down 3 to 4 points, and nothing. Buyers like, oh, give me more, give me more, give me more. Right? All right. So that's a real-time order flow read for you. It's never about prediction. It's all about reaction. We want to see how the order flow comes across. I want to see how it's playing out. And then I want to gauge the reaction to the move. And then that's where I want to participate in. Bears got stuffed right there. You know, they got stuffed. They pushed it down lower. We saw it in real time. Okay, we saw this push down here. They managed, Bears, a sell program and off, managed to push price down 2 to 3 points, and I believe it's like $17 million to push the ES. I believe it was, gosh, I'm going to butcher this, but it's double-digit millions to push the ES during regular trading hours. It changes by hour, but I did a study on it, and it takes a certain amount of time to it takes about 17 million to push the ES a tick during regular trading hours. And they just pushed it down 4 points. 4. And so on those 4 points, what did we get? Nothing. Bears got nothing. So they threw that money at it, right? Buyers are there. And then conversely, look at the reaction, right? The reaction was higher prices. They took everything the Bears had in that moment, absorbed it, and said, I want more. They were like Pac-Man down there. So I hope you guys got to see that. Hope you guys learned from it. And if you didn't, no worries, because we're going to be back here again doing it tomorrow. I feel a little bit better about framing out the order flow reads, and because that's such an intricate part of how I trade. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to share that, but you know what? You guys are all smart. You guys all get it. And everybody here, I believe, wants to learn, wants to grow. I want to share everything I know. I want to make sure everybody's getting the most out of this that they possibly can. Delphine, David, Manny, how do you determine the type of each day, like cycle day 3? So Delphine, great question, right? So it follows a sequence. Cycle day 1, follow cycle day 2, follow cycle day 3. So for cycle days, David's going to be able to better explain this than I can. But for cycle days follow a 3-day cycle pattern. So cycle day 1, cycle day 2, cycle day 3, and then the clock resets. You go back to cycle day 1. For the clock series days, it goes series 1, series 2, series 3, series 4, and then it resets back to series 1. Okay. Good question, though. Easy Money says, still think 74.50 has been important the last few days. Yeah, good point, CB. Yeah, 74.50 was in the market, in yesterday's market blueprint. 74.50 was the bull bear line. I definitely think it matters. Obviously, right? Look, if you look at a chart, you can see why. All right, team. So now here's the next follow-up to what just happened. Okay. So we saw the move. We saw the bullish move. Let me just frame out here. So we saw the absorption. We saw the buyers come back in and press. So what's next? So now what we do is we gauge how strong are these buyers? Are they going to keep pushing price back up to 75.70? Where do they lose momentum? Where do they lose the ball? Where do they lose the upper hand? Okay, so wait. So first off, they're already starting to lose it, right? I mean, look, we're starting to chop around here. I just want to make sure I have all these ATAs off. I do. Okay. 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 All right. So now we're gonna. Yep. No worries, Delphine. Happy to help. So now we're gonna gauge. Okay, how strong are these buyers, and where can they take price up? Now, what are we gonna? How do we do that, right? So the way we do that is we gauge the strength of the momentum. Where's our structural reference that theoretically they could stop. Well, right now we know that that price is just here, the recent high we just made. That price comes in at 75.37. Can they stop it there? I don't know. Let's see. But then above that, then we have this reference here. This low that we put in, that price came down and then it bounced it. Obviously, someone was home here buying. Okay. So that price comes in at 75.45. It also lines up very well with our VWAP. Okay. So VWAP is the volume weighted average price, which is an average of the volume of the volume traded in this session. Okay. So if you have any longs on the reclaim, make sure you take your scales ahead of that. I am participating in the reclaim just because I have to fulfill my obligation. Like I find myself irresponsible if I don't take my planned trades. So just so you guys know, when I'm framing out these trade plans, it's my job to take that trade. It's not my job to think or feel. It's my job to take the trade. So so I am in that reclaim, but you know what I can do is I can control the risk. So instead of taking it in minis, I took it in micros, right? Did really nice in the first two trades lower. And now I'm in micros. It'll be a small portion, but at least I handled my responsibility and stayed true to my trade plan, stayed true to the execution. If it turns out to be a loser, I've accounted for that, you know? I mean, I could afford to lose this as a mini trade, but I'm taking it in micros to satisfy the obligation. I consider it my responsibility to take these trades that I plan out. Too many times as I was a novice, right? I'd frame out an idea and then I'd find myself midday trading something else. I was like, what was the point of me doing the work if I was just going to trade something else? So then I had to go through that adjustment period, and I had to start honoring my word and staying true to my commitment, staying true to myself. Hopefully you guys can learn something from that and the importance of doing that. And it does wonders for your confidence. It also keeps you out of your head. I'm not sure if we're going to be joined here by David. Hang on a second. My chart is down. Wait. Okay. David will ping us as soon as he gets back. I think we're joined by D-Boy. What's up, D-Boy? How's it going? All right, so with 75, 35, 75, looking for the 5-point first target on that one. At 75, 39, I'm in micros on that one. David says he's having broadcasting issues, back as soon as possible. Thanks, David. Thanks for the update. Easy money, caught the MNQ on the look below and fail the over the high. Good job, David. Good job, CB. Good job. We're done. That's the way you do it. Frame out the idea, trade it, stay out of your head, trade the chart. All right, let's get a read on the internals. All right, 1-to-1 positive on the NYSE, 1-to-1 positive on the NASDAQ. Target filled. All right, got that first target, team. Got that first target. All right, got the 5-point target on the micros. Woohoo! I need air in my tire. I'm just joking. All right, so let me fan out these orders where it makes sense, right? So so here's the last structural low is 75.45. All right, so I want to get out ahead of that. Right now I'm offered at 75.42. I'm not going to move that. I'm just going to let it play out, see if we can get up there. But I am going to run into problems here at 75.45, I fear. So I mean, we'll see. 75.36. So the 10-point cover, I know you guys know I trade for 5s and 10s. All right, and then we'll just put that one up there. Who knows? This is probably be the trade I should have taken in minis. Always works out that way. All right, got that fill. I got that fill. Hope you guys are catching some of these moves, but don't worry about it if you're not. Don't chase anything, all right? We do this every single day. We've been doing it this way for years. So don't worry about it. Patience, learn as much as you can, pick up as much as you can. The market is not going anywhere. I'll share a story in 2015 for like 2015. I got really burned out with trading. I was trading really, really well, but I got really burned out. I was doing really well, and I got really burned out. And I decided to take a week off just to relax. That week I took off, it ended up being over a year and a half. And when I got back to the market, the market was still there waiting for me. It hadn't gone anywhere. It changed a little bit. The levels changed, but the concepts were the same. The trading execution was the same. And my skills needed to be repolished, revamped. It took me about 6 months to get back in the saddle. But yeah, I was able to do that. And I'm really grateful for that time because I ended up, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I ended up getting into real estate development. That was really, I had a ton of fun doing that. But the point there is that the market's not going anywhere. If you develop the skills, right? This is why we say what we say in the opening, right? If you build the skills, if you can develop consistent profitability, then this becomes not just a get rich.
Today at the time attendance was taken.
It doesn't become a temporary thing. It becomes a career. And when you develop the correct skills and you develop the ability, the skill to trade, you can apply it to any instrument. As I've told you, I traded the euro for many years. It would wake up, Eastern time at 2 a.m, and I would trade the euro. But you develop the skill, and then it's a career that you can carry with you for many, many years. Often too many novices approach trading as as something that's easy. They approach it with something that they can do quickly and for lack of a better term, they posted got the target 10 points on the third micro. So heads up, I got that target. These were I'm calling them out as the OCOs on that field because I had various different entries. So it should have went 5 and 10. I know that this notification is showing something different, but anyhow, back to what I was saying. If you take your time and you develop the skill, then you will always have the ability to trade, and you can trade from anywhere. Then the dream becomes true, right? You can trade from anywhere in the world. You can have a life where you are the one that dictates your schedule. You are the one that can operate on your own according to your own dictation, what you want to do and what you say. You can set your own schedule. You don't have to adhere to someone else's schedule. You don't have someone else controlling you in terms of what to do and what to say. Here you get to have a home office and spend more time with your loved ones. You also have your weekends off, which is fantastic. So develop the real skill. Don't fall for the trap of temporary gains. Don't fall for short wins. Build a skill. Get around the right community, and you will have not a one-time payout, but you'll have a career. And that was our whole focus with building Pitbull Traders. Danny, you guys saw Danny Riley pop in, and Danny Riley's our CEO, and he was the one that had the early vision for it. because he saw us come in and we were in the IM Pro. We were trading every day and just kind of moving along in our own merry way. Really great community of really astute traders. And the idea was, well, the idea of prop firms came up. And so when we started discussing prop firms, I was saying, wow, some of these prop firms just hand people accounts, but there's no education. And Danny was really big about framing out education, like, wow, we could teach these guys how to trade. We can, build a pool of good elite traders, and we can fund them, and that will just expand our community. And so that was the early vision. That's what we're executing, and we're happy to have all of you as a part of it. Again, if you're developing the skill and you want to test those skills, go to Pitbull Traders, get an evaluation, come join us in the pit. SPYGATE comes free with your evaluation. And as a heads up, we're doing a big overhaul on the site. We're super excited about that. It should be rolling out hopefully within this week. Marlon's been taking care of that. I know a lot of you know Marlon. A lot of this stuff wouldn't happen without Marlon. Actually, none of it. So shout out to Marlon. Shout out to Renee, who's with us today. I thought Renee was not going to join us today, but he's in the house. So shout out to Renee, and shout out to Mika, who's on the team now, and she's just getting acclimated. All right, team. So what was that spike? Let's go check the feed. Let's go check the news feed. So immediately, right, on that spike, what did I see? I saw SPYGATE go off, right? SPYGATE went off. I might have to close this here. So look at what happened on that news spike. This is why you need the right tools. If you don't know what the institutions are doing, if you don't have the things like a trade plan and the clock, I mean, you're flying blind. Seriously. How are you going to beat or compete against the institutions if you don't level the playing field? You have to have the right tools. You have to have the right community. All right, team. It looks like, let me see. Let's see what the high looks like. 75.46 quarter is our high. 75.46 quarters are high. It's a poor high. I don't like it at all. I'm not adding to it. I am not adding to this. Wait a minute. What time is it? It's 10:09. We're going into the window now. We are headed into our window here. Hey, Anna, welcome back. Sorry I missed your open. Not been 100%. Glad to find you here today. Don't see the news spike. When you say spike, you meant the dip, right? Yes, correct. So correct, Anna. When I meant the news spike, just what I mean by that is not necessarily a spike or a dip. I meant like a spike. So in my mind, I was thinking a volume spike. That's the way I generally view news spikes. Is I'm thinking in terms of volume, because it's hard to discern whether that was buy or sell, right? So just understand it's a spike in volatility, a spike in volume. But good question. Thanks, Anna. Happy to have you back. I hope you're feeling better. Yeah, so we heard something on the feed. Let me check it out. CEO of Bank of America, Brian, and Boeing CEO. Let's see. I think it was something on consumer consumer credit. Not sure though. Not sure. Let me check something here. They're coming in again. Something about Al Jazeera. All right, I'm monitoring this here closely. And what I'm thinking about here is do I add to this position? I'm still really early in this balance area. I'm going to tighten up the stop. I don't want to see it get below 75.3150. So I'm going to put my stop at, I don't want to see it go below 31. So I'm going to put my stop at like 29. Give it some room to breathe. I don't like having just one on though, because I want to be able to scale. So I'll just add one there. Your micros. Again, trade accounts relative to your account. I know my account can handle this type of, I can handle one or two ads with micros. So I'm going to do that accordingly. I don't like the high. I don't think that it's formed out right. I do like the way the bulls absorb the lows down there, and the volume spike. The negative news on the news drop, the volume spike pushed prices down, which is what we saw early on the open. Anna, you missed that. Don't worry, we'll cover it again. And so every news spike has been absorbed. So every time a piece of news is dropped, we've seen price dip, and that dip be absorbed. And then think about that just contextually, right? So negative news, sell, programs go off. Okay, fine. And then so a buyer, there have to be a buyer for every seller, right? So all those buyers absorbed all those sellers, and they pushed price down, and the buyers took all of it. And then after that, they pushed it higher. So they were buying. All right. Now we'll gauge the strength and the momentum of the bounce. Are you guys trading it? Let me know what you guys are doing. Did you guys catch the look below and fail? I know. Easy Money caught it. All right, so you got team. So I added some there. I added a couple of micros down there. My average is now 75.38. I just want to participate in the move. But you also know the thinking and the reasoning for why I took the long. Okay. I also know that I'm following my trade plan, and I'm executing in alignment with the day's dominant forces, as well as with my trade plan that's highlighting, as pointing me to a high pivot at a certain time frame today. If you don't know what that is, go to the X feed. It's at Manny_trends on X. Coming into the first 74.38, this should be 48 quarter for the 10-point fill. We saw the overnight trading, the overnight gotcha trade down there. The liquidity grab just grabbed all the bears' lunch down there, and we did the stop run in reverse, ran everybody's pockets. Everybody selling into those overnight lows got clapped, got returned right back to sender. If you're just joining us, I'm Manny for Pitbull Traders. We're tracking the ES. We're long 75.38 quarter. We're looking for 75.48 quarter on our first scale on this trade. If you're just joining us, we had a short trade on earlier that took us from about 75.41 down to 75. We got 5-point scale, 6-point scale, 12-point scale, and then the last one phased out somewhere at about 8 or 9 points, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not tracking it exactly. I just know it did well. And if you are just joining us, this is a part of our plan, our plan that we mapped out this morning. It's part of our pre-market prep. We were looking for price to dip below. We were looking for price to dip below the overnight low at 75.29 and reclaim that price. It did. So we immediately cut our shorts on a real-time order flow read, and we got long. Okay. If you're just joining us, that's what's happening. And if you've been here for a while, do us a favor, hit the like button, click subscribe. Help support the channel. We're just getting underway here. We have a lot more to offer, but those likes and those comments and those subscribes go a long way. You can hit the notify button and let you know when we're going to be on. Good job, CB. ES, J Mark points out, ES definitely stronger than NQ, battling at VWAP now. ES on 5. Yeah, we're definitely trying to reclaim VWAP. So we outlined that earlier. We needed to get above 75.45 on the first test. It faded down as low as 75.34. It tested the Globex open, which was 75.34, and thus moved higher. I had the initial, this is a micro trade for me. I had 4 on. It looks like we got 3 off for various scales. And then we got I added to the trade on the secondary dip, which now it looks like we might have another new spike coming on here. Just another volume spike, I should say. I'm sure Anna will keep me on my toes. I like the way Anna keeps me on my toes. I'm still just monitoring the trade here. I don't want to trail it too tight. However, we're kind of stalling out here, though, right? This is the Bull's second attempt to convert that 75.45 to 75.50 band. And yeah, they're running into supply. We're running into some supply up here, so stay alert. It's taking quite a bit of volume to break through this supply area. Very similar to what we saw yesterday, just kind of like a different type of chart pattern. But yesterday we dipped into value and we rejected. Today we went into yesterday's value area and then it was rejected. Now you can see here that yeah, bears are putting up a fight. We're stalling at the volume weighted average price. Price is stalling at the VWAP. We're losing momentum here. Bulls keep running into supply, knocking their heads up against that supply and can't break through. I know they're all waiting on higher prices, as am I. Can we get up there higher? Can we get up there higher? Let's go. I'm willing to take a graceful exit on this trade below 75.31. It looks like that's probably going to be the case. It looks, let me just get this chart. Let me just get the execution chart up. Sweet. Perfect. This is one of those times for me, team, that I need to use the restroom, and I can't get away from here right now. I mean, it's 3 micros. It's not a big position. Yeah, it looks like we're coming back down in. It looks like I'm going to get taken out on this one, which sucks. Which basically makes the last trade moot. But we'll see. We'll honor the stop. We'll make sure that it's structurally sound, right? We didn't want to see it go below 31 was actually the price. And then I raised it to below the Globex open. Yeah, and the time is not in my favor anymore. So it looks like I'm going to have to take a stop out on this. All right, there it goes. Stopped out. I was stopped out. Team heads up. I was stopped out on that one. All right. So we went. Let's see. We've had total for the day. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. 4 were winners. 3 were losers. Switch this back out to ES. That micro trade, if it was in ES, it'd have been nice. But I still think we can go higher here. I think that my structural stop should have been below 31, but I raised it because I raised it after the ad. I didn't want to take that much of a stop out risk. And I'm glad, because here I would have been stopped out here. So all right, no harm, no foul. Hey, we have to stay alert here though, team, right? So thus far, we've had a lot of price action, all contained within 21 points. Heads up, right? We could, unless we get some range extension lower, which is possibly the case. I see the NQ, the Nasdaq is trading lower, but the Russell isn't. The VIX is flat. Oil is down, but we could be in for a range bound day. All right, heads up. If buyers are unable to breach these lows here, and we just start trading right back up to 75 40 75, 35 75 40, we have to be on alert for a choppy day. All right, that doesn't mean buy them here. That means let's wait for something to happen, and then let's react. And that's the biggest lesson here, right? We want to react, not predict. When we start predicting, we start expecting things from the market, when we really want to do is just participate in what it's already doing. Anna says, I heard that if the AI trades drop, it will take indices with it today. Micron insane, but back at the low. If you call 900 a low. Interesting. What's the Anna? What's the ETF? Hey guys, what's the ETF that's tracking these AIs? I need to have that on my radar. Looking up, I have a big screen. Look, we're bouncing again off of we're bouncing off of developing value area low. We're bouncing above developing value area low. And it says everything I'm reading, read consumer conflicts, CNBC, consumers in good shape, but other data says credit card debt is being defaulted on at levels not seen since 2008. If the consumer cannot, yeah, that's I think that I think that the data is being scrubbed. How's the consumer how's the consumer still good? With gas where it is, with inflation being where it is. The consumer was bad. The consumer was struggling before oil. I mean, eggs are $8, right? Just data's being scrubbed. But here's the thing, right? Let's not let that frame our trading, right? Let's stay process orientated. We are technicians. We focus on the charts. Let's focus on the charts. We'll trade what we see. If the market wants up, let's go. This way we don't. This way we can earn a living in any kind of economy. All right. I probably should have scalped this right here. Long 35, 30, 75, 31, 75. I'm doing this just for the feed. Micros long. Which stopped just below 28. Oh man, the wrong chart. Sorry, stream. I have a few different screens going on here. So I'm long 4 micros. Looking for 36.75 on the first for 5 points. And then I'm looking for got the 5 points on the micros. Looking for 41.75. I'm looking for 40.75 and 41.75. I'm not looking for new highs. I'm just scalping micros. So here, the idea, I actually don't know what the ETF is. I'll look it up, Anna. Thank you though. Thank you. Appreciate the insight and the color. So team, this is what I want to express here is that what we said earlier, right? The dreaded sideways day. And on those days, we have to change our approach. We can't think directionally anymore. Now we have to scalp the edges. So this is why I didn't take it in minis. I took it in micros. It's testing that theory, right? So we outlined that earlier. We looked below the overnight low. We failed. But what happened on the top side? Buyers were unable to extend in any meaningful way. We have a 21-point range, and we've been open for an hour now. That is not the sign of a market that's going to have a directional breakout. All right. Can it happen? Of course, anything can happen. But the early signs right now, the present sign is that, hey, we are range bound, trim the edges, scalp the edges, get out in the middle. reassess at the end. Don't get greedy. Turbofan says Vista shares artificial intelligence supercycle ETF. AIS? Turbofan, is that the AI ETF? Okay, cool. Thanks. I'm looking for 40.75 and 41.75. Wow, it's a giant gap up this week, and it's leaving a selling tail. Hey, this is a good one. Thanks, Turbo. I have to put this on my radar. Coming back down into those 31s. I only got one scale out of it thus far. Yeah, I don't like the way that tail is starting to form here on the 15-minute on ES. Ugly. Let's see let's see if my theory is correct about it being a choppy range bound day. Stop is still the same. Stop is still the same. Oh, just got taken out. I just got taken out. Heads up. Hey, we could be seeing a range extension here. Let's see. Oh no, look at this. Right back into range. Dude, this is so guys, this is so choppy. Be careful here. Is there news coming out? I heard Spygate's going off. Couple cell programs there. Couple cell programs. Are you guys able to catch that? Oh, that's very nice of you, Anna. Anna says, "Sorry, man, it's a joy." No, Anna, well, stick around here. You can do this too. We're all about sharing information. We're all about teaching and sharing. All right. White House says Iran's MOU a complete fabrication. All right, so we have to be careful out here today. Look at what happened on Spygate. The algo sold it. They sold that news drop, right? And then it was absorbed again. Every sell has been countered. They pushed it down, they absorbed it. Pushed it down, absorbed it. No, they got my stop. I'm not trying that again. Tyson says, just news, White House. Up. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tyson. I'm not trying that again. How many times are you going to go back to the well? Nope, no worries, Anna. Not distracting at all. Not distracting at all. Damn, they came down. They got my stop. They said, Manny, you know what? Give me that. And then they spiked it. So what am I going to do? Now White House saying it's false. Yeah. All right, so what's the next trade, team? Let's go back to the plan. Check it out. Let's go over the plan. Let's see what the plan says. I can get long. Let's see. I can get long above 75.48 to 75. I'd prefer to be long above 75.58, but the context is telling me that we might be choppy here. Context is telling me that this might not be the day to expect a directional bet, to place directional bet. So let's give this a few minutes. Let's give this at least a 15-minute print. See how it plays out. Let's zoom out on these choppy days. Let's make sure that we're not. It's very easy to get lost on a choppy day in a 5-minute chart. Everything looks like a breakout, and it just ends. It's just really frustrating. God, I hate those days. All right. Hey, team, timeout. David was never able to get back up and going. So it's unfortunate. I always look forward to having David on. But hang tight. I'm going to just take a quick bathroom break. BRB. I'm back, guy. I'm back, team. No one reminded me I didn't have my money making hat on. I feel like I always do better when I have my hat on. All right, let's see where we at. Where are we at with things? Okay, right back to VWAP, volume weighted average price. We're testing volume weighted average price again. But remember, we had a rejection from yesterday's value area and the inability to see higher prices. So the day's price action has been contained. All of today's price action has been contained within a 21-point range. Let's see what else we can discern from the price action. Not only has it been contained within the prior day's range, but also within the prior day's value area. So that's a big tell. That's a big tell, team, because if value area is value area is where 70% of the prior day's volume transacted. Okay. If price is unable to move higher and to demonstrate acceptance, that is the market signaling that there is not a shift in perception of value of the market. All right. And when price is contained within the prior day's value area, that means the score is even, bulls and bears are in agreement. And we need to wait for a break, for a shift in that perception of value so that we can jump on board and make some money from the shift in that perception. Our job is to sit and wait. I often tell people when they ask me what I do, I tell them I'm a professional waiter. I sit around and I wait. And it says, the timing of what Trump and White House administration comes out with can be manipulated to suit, but not the Iranian releases. You know what, Anna? So we all know that Trump and team are certainly timing their tweets. Let's just put it that way. Right? I'm not even sure it's a secret. If it is, it's the worst kept. And to think that Iran is not aware of the U.S. markets, they are aware of it also. Iran has, just put it this way, Iran, maybe not as many as the U.S., but the Iranian government is also trading the U.S. market. The entire world is trading the U.S. market. Polo says professional waiter. Yeah, I'm a professional waiter. People get the wrong idea that they think I'm waiting tables. Turbo fan says 100% agreed. The better you wait, the more money you make. Absolutely. Yep, 100%. My ability to wait is directly correlated to how much money I make. Funny, Renee. Yeah, we're just chopping around 21-point range, guys. I'm glad that we framed it out this morning, because we had an idea of this, right? We spoke about it early in the morning. We said today have the potential to be a small candle body day, a indecisive sideways move. And let's just review. If you're just joining us, I'm Manny Pitbull Traders. Thank you for joining the stream. And we framed out our ideas for the morning. We're going to do a rehash really quickly of that, bring everybody up to speed while we sit around and wait as professional waiters. Let's see. All right. So on the left-hand chart, this is a 2-hour time. My 2-hour time frame. Let's go blow it out to a 4-hour, as more people are familiar with that time frame. All right. So we are calling this, I've been framing this as the Artemis to the moon rally. And that is because we traded the 63.53 low on March 30th to the day that the Artemis launched. Okay. Artemis went to the moon and came back. The EF stayed there. All right. So anyhow, this move has been characterized by breakouts. Oh wait, that's not going to work. This move higher. So what I'm framing out right here is this move. Hang on, let me get my pointer. Is this one, right? So what we see here, we had an impulsive move higher, right? So we went higher, sideways consolidation, breakout. Sideways consolidation, breakout. Sideways consolidation, breakout. You get the picture. So here we had another consolidation, breakout. Now we're trying to gauge, okay, if this is this the last breakout, or are we going to go sideways more? And we have to start after this move has been. We can all pretty much see that this move is getting a little long in the tooth. So now we have to be on alert for, does this move start to peter out? The first sign of that is going to be an extended sideways consolidation and inability for buyers to break price out higher to sustain higher value. So we framed out this morning. We came in thinking, all right, let's be on alert for that. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Inability for price to extend higher. And now is this a sideways consolidation or the beginning of a deeper pullback? Is this a failed breakout or is it just a sideways consolidation? No way to tell. The way we are going to say is we're going to stay, I'm a technician, so I focus on charts. And in order for there to be a structural shift, I first need to see price get below the 74.50 previous high, 74.50, 74.60. That's going to get my alert. It's still not a shift because price can still just simply come back here, and then pull up higher. But if we start working in here, I'm going to start looking for, okay, my next structural reference is the previous low. And then do we get a move lower that then bounces from there, or do we get a move lower and that fills the gap at 7,300 for a move higher? We're going to take it step by step. We'll stay process focused. We'll gauge the reaction at every move. We'll get really granular with it by studying the order flow and studying the smaller time frames. And we'll know it right as it's happening. All right. So if you're just joining us, that's the outlook. We're doing the sideways consolidation. Our next trade would be a breakout. According to my trade plan, the market blueprint, if you want to see that, it's up on X at Manny_trend. I'm looking for a breakout above 75.50 to 75.55 for a potential move that would look something like this. Come back down, we test, and then maybe we extend higher. If not, then maybe we get an extension lower, come back up and test, and then move into yesterday's low at 75.17. All right. But right now, while we are consolidating in this 21-point range, guys, don't click yourself to death. All right. Don't click yourself broke. Preserve that capital. Wait for better opportunities. Fortunately enough, we were able to catch some good trades off the open. But right now, the only price that matters, 75.25, 75.50. Simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Let's just continue to monitor the price action. And I was thinking that too we ran the PPT, the plunge protection team, is alive and never been so well under Trump, right? And you know what? Like there are a few things I appreciate of any politician. I happen to know personally two politicians, and I just, oh man, they're just a different breed. And what the one thing that I can appreciate about, well, I don't know if I appreciate it, but it's just with this administration, they're not even hiding it. It's just rampant greed. It's in your face. I don't know how this ends well, but we're going to just keep trading the ES. We'll just keep trading the ES. I don't know. Let's focus on things that can make us better traders so we can feed our families in any economy. And don't forget, if for all you tuning in, that today is Wednesday, and we all know what Wednesday is. And if you don't know, today is Wednesday, and we have Danny and Lauren joining us at 12 o'clock. They're going to go into markets and mindset. Danny was on last week, and she did an excellent job. Really like her stuff. She was talking about different. They just bring a different tool set to trading, and she was doing some mental game work that really goes hand in hand with trading. It's really good. Highly suggest you check it out. They're going to come on here at 12 o'clock noon today, so look out for that. And I know I'll be tuning in. That's where I plan to have my lunch and watch them, because it's that's one of the things that we had for such a long time in our private community. It was just a well-rounded group of traders that all have all trading different disciplines and have different approaches, all that work, and you can pick up different tools from different folks, from different traders, and you can pick up and use what works for you, and if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. But stay open-minded. I know I really enjoy being curious as a trader and trying on things that there's nothing I wouldn't try. Anything to give me an edge. And so I really enjoy Danny and Lauren's Wednesday segment. I look forward to it just as much as I look forward to Trey's Sunday night segment. And soon we're going to have a show coming out at noon on a regular basis. We're currently building that out. Just another update on the website. We have a website build coming out. We're retooling our website. It's going to be it's going to add a lot more value to the viewers. So look out for that. I know Marlon's working on it. I've worked on it as well over the weekend. Anna says rampant is the right word. I wonder what history will make of this looking back. History will not be kind to them, Anna. That's what I think. History will not judge them lightly. But you know what they say about history books, right? History books are written by the winners. So, yep. But it depends. I don't think that that their approach is a long-term win approach. Hey, heads up. All right, we're making a move down now. So let's just talk about what the potential next trades could be, okay? So do we get the extension lower, or is this another trap trade, right? Are we going to stay on alert here? Because we know that on days where we're range bound, we have to kind of switch our hats. We have to switch our approach, right? So we're thinking less about directional bets and more about getting price back into mean reversion. So we're thinking more about waiting for price to extend. And does price extend down here and then reclaim and come back up, put it in a higher low, revisit? Do we come up, fail, and then come back below and come down and then build this out in the center? Whereas our profile would then give us that rounded B look. Right, where we get a profile that gives us that rounded like B look. That's horrible, but you guys get what I'm saying. Right, so if you think of a bell curve, we go like something like this, where every extension lower just fails and comes right back in. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. We have to stay on alert for any of the three possibilities. The three possibilities are always breakout higher, breakout lower, sideways. The dreaded sideways move. Let's see what we have. Let's see. Testing the lows again. Testing the lows again. What time is it? Let's see. We're early. No. So here, heads up. I was thinking about scalping this long here, but I don't necessarily have good time. I'm just sticking to the market blueprint. I'm just following the trade plan. So right here, this is what I'm following. It's still up on the X feed for free, guys. Go check it out. We had the 75.50. This was the setup we took earlier. The 75.27 reclaim that we outlined in the pre-market.
First pullback, take trade.
There's your scalp for a few points. Good on you if you took it. That's it. From social, attention to technicals is so important. Stating the obvious, but muscle memory, i.e., every dip bought, can harm clarity. Yeah. Greed. Yep. Let's gauge the strength and the momentum of this bounce. Do we get yep, look, we're starting to fill out the profile. See, so this is what I was talking about, team. We're monitoring the bell curve, the market profile bell curve, right? Where we come in and we just kind of put in a move like this. And that's kind of what's developing here. Staying alert for any potential outcome. And you know, if it does break out, and let's say you buy a scalp and you intend to scalp it and you get stopped out, keep your wrist tight. It's not the end of the world. But this is not a day to be trading inside out. It's a day to trade outside in. I hope that makes sense. And let me explain that to you. So what I mean by inside out versus outside in. Today's a day that we want to trade from the outside in. So I want to take positions here on the outer edges of the range, and I want to cover in here. I want to take position here and cover in the middle. Okay, as opposed to inside out, which is taking a position somewhere in here and looking for a breakout, or taking a position somewhere in here and looking for a move higher. This is inside out versus outside in, taking there and looking to cover in here, getting in here and looking to cover in there. Two different approaches. So you have to know, what kind of day you're into. Also, today's an S3. If you look at the market blueprint, today is S3 day. Cycle day 3, S3H cycle day 3. Gosh, if there's a worse configuration, it's today. S3 days are notoriously choppy. My favorite day is S2, closely followed by S4. The day I dislike the most is S1. Like if I'm going to take a day off, I'd rather take an S1 day off. And S3 days would then be followed by that. They're just choppy days. All right, looking like we're getting a push down here lower. Let's see what happens. You got to if you're scalping, you got to stay quick on the draw here. Make sure you get those covers in. Go 6-8 ticks, get to break even. If you go one scalping strategy that I used to use is I go, my first target would be like 6 or 8 ticks. And then if I got 6 ticks on the first contract, the second contract, I'd move my stop like 2 or 3 ticks back from entry to make sure I get paid something on the trade. So that's just one way of doing it. Me, JT Manny, I have it at F3L, so the time for the low worked for me. What did not work with the potential gain for the risk? Yeah, we ran out. Ran out of steam here. Ran out of steam. But so also, sticking with the trend, I would have to say that we test the highs here. Maybe we break a little bit lower, trap, and then move higher. Look below 75.17 and then go higher. Right, so it'd be a move like this, maybe. Right, where we get where look, our internals are positive, the VIX is flat, Russell's chopping around. So we get this move. People get really bulled up on the break here, right? And then we look below here. We look below, maybe test as low as, what's the market blueprint level? Timeout. So thus far, the market blueprint has 75.33, and then, yeah, that's all I have. So if we get the break, maybe it materializes, where this is our structural low thus far. We get the break, maybe even goes by yesterday's low. Come back up here. This is where they start selling them again. We go in, we put in the higher low, trap, and then move higher. Or perhaps it doesn't make it that low, and we do something like this. You can already see we're already moving back up off the low. I should have scalped it. We break lower, trap under this reference. Then they start selling on the pull up. They start selling it here. Gets a little bit lower. We do come back up, put an inverse head and shoulders, reclaim the overnight low. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But me, JT, if your clock alignment is correct, then that would probably materialize into lunch, where the lunch low takes out the AM high, AM low. I'm on H. So yeah. I tried that. It just confused me. So just sticking with what works for me. I couldn't really make sense of it. I know what you're saying, though. I've seen it. It's ambiguous in terms of I don't want to confuse the viewers. So here we go. We're moving back up again. This is a really boring day. JB Manny, can you repeat your S-Day rankings? Thanks. Yeah, JB. So if I had a favorite day, my favorite day is S4. S4 days tend to be the most volatile days. Those are the days where you get wide ranges. I don't care if it's S4H or S4L. S4 day is my favorite. My closely followed second is S2 day. S2 is my second favorite day, followed by S3, and then my least favorite is S1. And if we're talking about cycle days, my favorite cycle day is cycle day 1. An S4 cycle day 1 is like, I will never take that day off. S4 cycle day 1, I'm gonna put more time into my trade plan. I am going to be ready. I've had my best days on that day type configuration. I should have scalped them. I knew they weren't going to break lower. That was a gift down there. That was a gift. Let's see what happens on the top side. In order to trade the top range, right? In order to trade the top range, so for me, what I would need is, so first off, I'd hope that it materializes during lunch, right? Breakouts tend to fail more during lunch. So if we get up here, right, we get up 75.50, maybe test as high as, I don't know, 75.55. Okay. and then we put in a print, something like this. Wait. We get up to somewhere in this area. And then we put in a print like this. And then my stop, I want to see order flow taper up here. And I'm using that as my stop. So I got to get in as close as I can to this wick. I got to, I've got to be like a cat watching a mouse hole on entry. And then because I don't want this risk to be, over 5 points. So, and then this might take long to materialize too. So we might just like chop around, but never make a new high. And then we come right back down into range later on in the day. I'm definitely interested in that at lunchtime. If we spike around noon, come up in here, something like that. That's like the general look I'm looking for. Yeah, that'd be great. 75.47 is the high. Definitely try that. But you can't do much down here, right? I mean, this was a pretty maybe if it would have been a half an hour later for me, I would have bought this. And maybe if we come back down again, same concept, though, right? Okay, so look, let's walk through it. Same concept on the low side. So if we can come down here and go like this. Print a candle like that, and I can use that as that low as my, then I'm looking to get back above, 75.25 here. But I have to get in really, really close down here. So you got to watch it. If you're late, don't do it because it's too choppy. But when we get down there, it's going to look like it's breaking, and all of a sudden it's going to pause, and then it'll start inching its way back up. You'll question your sanity for buying it, and then you'll thank yourself later. Morning, Oz. How are you? Oh, thanks, pal. I'm glad that it's a little clearer. I kind of recolored them. Went back. I was watching the stream. Just I review the streams to review what I said. I want to make sure that I'm adding value, and would I listen to it? Would I come back in? Am I helping to teach people? Am I also trading the way I would trade if nobody was watching? And there are a lot of traders in the IM Pro that have been trading around. I've been trading with them for years. They know how more or less how I trade. But so when I go back and I review, I saw that the charts were a little bit grainy, and that if you can't see what I'm offering, then what's the point of it? You have to really be readable on a scan. You have to scan it and be able to read it quickly. So I hope this works out better. If not, let me know. Leave your feedback is crucial. Always willing to adjust. I was hoping to go to one chart, but I just have too many different strategies to monitor. So remember, I'm a trader first. Really looking forward to Danny and Lauren's show today at noon. Always, they just have a different approach. Take a look at the internals. 1-to-1 positive on the NYSE, 1-to-1 positive on the Nasdaq. Not really saying much though, because it's just everything's flat. Not really going anywhere. Here we go. Back up again. What time is it? 11:15. 11:15. I'm gonna bump this out to a 5-minute on choppy days. What I suggest you do, what I do is, see, I typically have this. I'm typically on a 15-minute time frame, but because I've seen a lot of presenters use a 5-minute. I think a 5-minute is more universal. I always see it in 15-minute blocks. But if it's choppy and you trade a 5-minute, just do yourself a favor. Even zoom out to a 10-minute or 15-minute. It's going to save you some grief. Because you don't want to, because we don't want to lose the forest for the trees and have traded, twice in this one candle, right? It's not conducive to account building. But welcome back, Oz. Appreciate you coming joining us. We had some pretty good trades this morning, but don't worry about it. We're gonna be here every day, pretty much every day. We're framing out some good ideas and we're executing them. Not without our losses, though, right? Everybody, I have losses every day. Everybody does. You can't trade and not have losses. If you're not factoring that in, if you think you're going to sit at your desk and have all winners, you're looking at it wrong. It's important to understand and brace yourself for those times that you're going to have losses. Period. Trump due to speak at cabinet meeting. Europe closes in 10. Thanks. Appreciate the color. Yep. Thank you for that. I always forget the Euro close. Heads up. Heads up, we're moving lower. All right, we're testing below that low. We're testing below that low. Testing below the 75.25, 75 low. Keep an eye out at here. Watch it like a hawk. Watch it like a hawk. Look at this. All right, pegged on that delta. Oh no. Yep, I cleared it out. That's fine. Yeah, let them extend it lower. 75.17 is probably where they're going. Let's see what happens when they get down there. Yep. Okay, good. It's breaking. Maybe we got to break out. Maybe we got some range extension down here. Who knows? 75.22 quarters is the low. I don't like that one. Let's see if they come back in on it. Yep. Okay, cool. They're moving. I'm flat, team. I'm flat. I'm just watching. Algo Hunter. Hey, good morning, Manny. What did I miss? I had a. Okay, you had an exam this morning. Cool. All right. So yeah. So let me just get through. Go through this again. Hang on. Hang on, Algo Hunter. 75, 25, 75 was that previous low. See what happens when we get there. I want to watch it. Yeah, no, they came back in on them again. Cool, cool, cool. All right, nothing doing. 75.17 is the next area that gets my attention. Yeah, you can see they're sitting on them here. They're going to push it lower. I think decisions. Oh, wait. 75-23. There was a battle of 75-23, 75-23 quarter. They flipped them. I think they got them on the run here, guys. Yep, they got them on the run. 75-25 quarter. There was a battle 75-23, 75-23 quarter. Quarter offer, flat bid. Let's see, but they can't gain a following here. They need to get it back above 25.75. I'm watching it like a hawk. What'd the tick do? Nah, nothing from the tick. I need my meter. Come on, give me my meter. All right, I might scalp these. Let's see. Is this a boredom trade? I've got my meter up. All right, I'm long 26s. Long 26s. Yes. Scalp trade. 25.50, 25 quarter and 25.60 sixes. I'm looking for 25.50. I'm looking for 29.50 on the first. Against 25.50. I'm looking for 28.50, 3-point scalp on the first. They got to go or I'll click close. They either go or I click close. Come on, what's it going to be? No, tick's coming in. Got it. Got it. I'll be with you in a second. I got the first one off, team. I got the first one off for +3. Tighten up. +3 on the first. Just a small scalp with I lost my OCO here. So I'm talking soon. It was supposed to be 11 a.m. The lucky hug. Yeah, my son's home again sick. He's not feeling well. He wants to go to school. And I won't let him. Dude, when I was a kid, he told me not to go to school. I was like, thank God. Yeah. I'm watching my meter here, right? I'm watching my meter. Yeah. I'm watching the meter. All right. Looks like we're good here. Let's see. I don't want to overstay my welcome on a scalp. It's very easy, like for them to like just change it and flip it and whatever. I'm gonna manage the stop and not the exit. If I can get some room on them, I'll move to break even and just let it work. But yeah, so hang on a second, I'll show you. Hang on, I'll go Hunter, I'll show you in a minute. All right, looks like we got some room on it, team. Looks like we got some room on it. So I'm watching a order flow meter. It looks something like this, and it's just a different version of how they're pressing. There's a little blue sensor in here. See the blue? See them pressing? Gives me a better read on order flow. I don't have enough room to leave it up on the screen. I would. Maybe I can just put it down here. But I can't. I can't. That's not an ice shot for me. All right. So hey, team. So that's what it was. So you see that it's kind of like the concept I was telling you on these days. We want to trade outside in. We want to scalp the edges. We want to get back into value. We want to get back at mean reversion type of day, where instead of us looking for range extension, we don't want to start trading lower, looking for moves down. What we want to do is instead scalp the perimeters, right? So I took 3 points on the first. I didn't know where it was going to go. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that when it's going to be harder to extend today, just because of we spent almost 2 hours within a 21-point range. That is not indicative of a day of institutional activity. Also, the SPYGATE, it has not been active at all today. You heard some croaks down there. You heard some knocks down there, right? We had some buy programs. We can see we had some buy programs there towards the end, towards the bottom. So that gave me a little bit more gumption, but I was in already. I was already long when those went off. But we'll see. We'll see how high we can get. I'm going to exit I'm going to exit on loss of momentum, or 34 is 10. I'll exit at 39. If I can get 15 points, on a day where we have 25-point range, I'm taking it. I thought I didn't pin the entry though, because I had this chart on micros. I decided to take it in minis. I just want to get some more. I want to get some more money in this account. Yeah, Algo Hunter. So the meter. Oh, okay. I think I answered that already. So Algo Hunter, let me just manage this trade, and then I'll show you what we were looking for early in the day. If you guys are just joining us, I'm Manny, Pitbull Traders. Thanks for joining the stream. We're tracking the ES. Early in our pre-market prep, we outlined a bullish trade, a bearish trade. We also outlined a bullish trap trade and a bearish trap trade. We've executed 4 trades thus far today. 5 trades for me, 4 winners, 4 winners, 1 loser. And now we're just monitoring this mean reversion trade where we looked below the early low at 75, 25, 75, and we reclaimed that low. We wicked, as I just outlined a few minutes ago. I said we were looking for a potential formation of a candle body with a wick and get us back above 75, 25, and we saw that. And then we executed it long for a scalp trade. All right. Algo Hunter, let me know if you have any questions or if that covers it. Let me know if you're in alignment with that. Yep, you're welcome. So here, does my moving average keep me down? Or am I, because look, the moving average has kind of trailed it down, right? Let's see. I want to zoom out to the 15-minute. Okay. Yeah, we just clicked that 9-period moving average. I'm not going to overstay my welcome on this. I'm going to take the points and I'm going to enjoy them.
First pullback, take trade.
First pullback take. All right. I don't want to exit on a down tick. Nah. All right, I'm out. Let's see. No. Yep, we got to take it. I'm out. Not all I wanted, but all I could take. I don't want to continue to trade the ES. I think it moves higher. This might be the second entry too, team. So, stay alert down here. I don't think we're going to extend lower. Not yet anyway, but the lows don't look good. And I don't like that we held that moving average that way. In hindsight, I probably could have exited there, but I just noticed as we were talking that it was holding as resistance on the move down. That's a telling sign. Let's see. We want to see if that's going to be respected, then we should be making new lows here soon. I don't think so. I think it's a mean reversion day. I think we move higher. The trade I'll probably take again. I should have taken it. I should have stayed in it, but I think I would have gotten stopped out break even. I don't want to leave risk on the table on a scalp trade, right? But maybe I thought we would get a little bit higher. Look what we did. We just one tick D period. Man, that is not the way this ends. No way. I might try this again. If I can get an entry close to my exit. But anyhow, so that's kind of like the mean reversion setup I was talking about. One more stab down lower, sweep the low again. If they here's going into lunch, team. So I'd like that look above and fail type trade also, but that might be nice. But if this moving average, which is a 21 period on the 5 minute, I have a 21 period exponential moving average and a 9 period exponential moving average. That's what you always see on all my charts, whether it's 15 minutes to hourly, whatever. Those are the moving averages that I use, 21 and 9. And if it looks like it's acting as resistance. So that's good information, right? Because if it's acting as resistance, then we can trade against it. And if it's reclaimed, then we can trade it as support. And that's always having that reactive mentality, right? Oh, look at this. Came back, tested into D period. Got them thinking lower. It's too choppy for range extension. Look at the delta. The delta's flat. Yep. It's really choppy. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna break out. They're gonna rally. They're gonna smoke all these guys up here. I'm gonna try it again. Let me see. 26. I got 27s. Damn, I'm over trading this area. What am I doing? Oh. 20, yeah. No, I just took it off for a point. I'm over trading it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in it. Even if it works out, I'm fine. I got in 27. I got out 26. Definitely over trading this chop, and I already took that idea. So graceful exit on that one. Just took a graceful. I'm glad I did. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing, team. I want you know, like, you see what happened to me right there. Like, let's learn from me, right? So sometimes when you just stay fixated on reading order flow and you stay fixated on the charts, you get like you're fixating on it, and you start to see things that aren't really there, right? And that's when you know that you need to take a break, right? You need to step away. You need to clear your head, go step outside, go for a walk or something. And that's what I'm going to do, because I've been sitting here for quite a while. It's also that time of the day. I'm glad I got out of there with just a point, just a point loss, and that's fine. Still pretty well balanced on the day. And so I hope everyone learned something from today's stream. Do me a favor, if you got anything out of this at all, please leave a comment, smash that like button. As I was mentioning earlier, Danny and Lauren are coming up at 12 noon. So if you guys are tuning in on socials, on YouTube, stay on the channel, go get something to eat, go get some water, go refresh yourself, and come back in 20 minutes and in 17 minutes for Danny and Lauren. You're going to want to hear what they have to say. I'm going to grab something to eat. I'm going to be here listening to them. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate you, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to play some good trades. We're going to make some money. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Thanks, Anna.